Tuned in to APEC Express. I'm Rizal Adanza. Tonight we'll be in conversation with a few members of the all-female women of color comedy troupe known as the Granny Cart Gangstas. Welcome, ladies, to KPFA. If you could please share your name, occupation, and something strange that happened to you recently.
My name is Aureen Almario. I'm like a part-time educator in many different institutions.
My name is Sunshine. I'm a high school biology teacher. Something strange that happened. I had a kid almost set fire to my classroom.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think he had like a pack of pencils, and then he set the pack of pencils on fire. And then I had to grab it, and then like stomp on it.
Did you kick him out of class?
Yeah, and then he got kicked out of school.
Oh no.
But that's okay.
That's
I mean, that was weird. I was like, this is interesting.
So you saved the day with your feet.
No. For a moment, I looked at him and I was like, I want to take a picture of this.
Did he look like he would be somebody who would light the school on fire?
Yeah.
Speaking of things being set on fire, Lauren, don't you have a history of things burning down?
Oh, that's really personal. My name is Lauren. I am a nurse. And the answer to that question is yeah. I have a history of things burning down around me. The church I was baptized in burned down. My middle school burned down. The hospital I was born in, the wing burned down. The last car I had went up in flames as I was sitting in it last year. Things like this, yeah. Like the first apartment my parents had with me burned down.
I thought it was going to be like little things. I didn't think it was going to be like real buildings.
Like
a little...
Even the church that I got confirmation in definitely burned down too.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literal flames. Oh, there's flames. Oh, crap. What do I do? Strange, but true.
That's a good skit.
Aureen, according to my research, you're one of the co-founders of Granny Cart Gangstas. Can you tell us more about how it was formed? Who's your co-founder?
So Ava Tong, shout out to Ava Tong.
Ava Tong.
Me and her have been great friends. We actually met at SF State. She was my teacher's assistant at the time. Me and her would go back and forth, just like throwing ideas, just over email. Like, oh, what if this happened? And what if this happened? And we have like a thread of emails, just me and her back and forth. And we've always wanted to do like a sketch comedy show. Over the email thing with Ava, I'm like, yeah, let's form a all-girl comedy troupe or whatever. And then so we brought my sister in, and Andrea like started chiming in. You know, we've all kind of came from this women's show in Binostiff. Like you have folks like Gail Ramasanta being the person that brought us all together. She was the main producer of that show. We tried to do this a kind of like an offshoot of that, which was Pinay's Maintaining Sisterhood Through Arts, doing women-centered stories. And then from that, me and Ava was like, we really just want to do like funny sketches, like really short, brief, like bam, 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 bam. We wanted to do this parody of like Beyonce's music video, and that's where it started. And from there, we just grew. And then Ava, one of our early emails was like, oh, what should we name ourselves? I'm like, I've always wanted to have a sketch group called Granny Cart Gangstas.
Sunshine, how did you get entered into the group? Is there like a special process?
Yeah, we all stood in a circle dressed in white and shared blood. No, I'm just kidding. We all bled together. I remember auditioning for a show. I didn't get a part, so but they were kind enough to be like, oh, do you want to stage manage? So that was the first time I stage managed. And then there was this like one girl that couldn't make it every day, so I slowly filled in her role. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, oh, she can act. And then after that, I just kept getting invited to things. And then I started realizing, like, oh, this is a real thing. Like, we're doing shows and...
It's a real thing.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's really happening. And then I think Run the World our first thing? Mm-hmm. I think after that is when we all realized that we were really committed to comedy. And then and really committed to, like, each other. And then I didn't realize we were special until people announced us as, like, all women's Asian American comedy troupe. And then they were like, and then someone said it in the beginning of a show, and then they were like, this is like really rare. And I was like, in the back, I was like, this is really rare.
When I first heard it, I was like, oh damn.
Yeah, I was like,
cool. We're cool.
yeah, and I was like, oh my God, we're doing something.
I know.
So, yeah.
Changing the world.
You can follow us on YouTube, Granny Cart Gangstas.
And Lauren, how did you get involved with Granny Cart Gangstas?
I feel like I'm one of the newer members, but so they were pretty much already amazing by the time I joined. I was like, wait, Granny Cart Gangstas, let me look up this video. So they showed me the video, they asked me to be part of the show, and I was like, what? They're amazing! I need to do that. How do I do that? Okay, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, so that's how, I just said yes. I said yes and we did Rise with Red Dawn. That one's my favorite. That was the best.
That was our first show. First show.
Yeah.
So technically, if you did our first show, you're also co-founders.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I am co-founder.
Cool. And Lauren, you said you were a nurse. That sounds like pretty intense, and with being on stage, incredibly time consuming. How do you balance those two aspects of your life?
You come home from your day at work as a nurse, and you've given everything you have inside you to all these people, and you have nothing left. So the thought that you go home, go to sleep, go back to work, and you have to somehow gather more empathy, it's draining. There's no way to do it. And even when I don't feel like I can bring anything or do anything after work, I know that when I come to the space, somehow it's like so rejuvenating. You get, how can it not be magic that you can come into a space feeling like, I can't do this, but I'm going to come anyway. And you play, and you laugh, and you connect with people, and you move your body, and different parts of your soul are activated, and then you feel like, how could I not? And it's that how could I not, which is what drives the time. You think you don't have time, but anybody can make time for something that they really love or they're passionate about. And so how can I not?
And I just want to mention too, like, there's members in our group that are moms, and they have work, and then like all of us are like working people, and then we do theater on the side, and I think we do theater on the side not because there's a monetary like reward to it. It's like this is what we do. This is like I consider it like my real work, you know.
Yeah. It's the happy.
It's my life work. That's and then there's my job.
Yeah. Yeah. It's our play. It's what gives us life.
And Aureen, you're actually in another play right now with your sister's directing. Am I right?
So my sister wrote it and directing it. And it's for her UC Berkeley, I guess, theater department. I think it's like theater and dance and performance studies. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's at UC Berkeley, and it's going to be showing in April 7, 8, 9, 10. And so she wrote it, and she's directing it at the same time. And it's about it's centered on something that my family experienced, which was like having an undocumented status. And so with that status comes all these other, kind of struggles and challenges with just living your life in the United States. And it's a fiction, so it's not like autobiographical, but she did some work with domestic care workers. I believe like 2012 with Migrante, and so she did this very short piece with them, and now she kind of just expanded it and like looking at the domestic care workers and having an undocumented status and what that implies. And so that's kind of like what the play explores.
And what's the name of that play, and what's your role in it?
So the play is called Chasing Papeles, and I'm playing Leia. I'm playing the girl that kind of goes to the United States and then experiences, all the things that having an undocumented status entails.
I think it's important because, like, without our stories being out there, without any form of empathy for people who look like us or whatever, how is any change going to happen without people being like, oh, they're real people? Because now we're not just, a face. We're not just, come on, they say we're emotional, whatever, but it's not that. Like, I need you to understand. And when we bring it to you in this art form, maybe there's a chance for some compassion and understanding to be there, some empathy. And that's the key for change. Because once somebody understands, like, oh, okay, that's how it's like for you, that sucks, then maybe something will switch. And maybe small, but it ripples out. And that's the importance, I think, for me, for what we do.
Or we get really, like, misrepresented in some things. So I think it's, like, very much, like, it's a whole thing of, like, you have to tell your story before someone else tells it for you. And, like...
Let me talk.
Like, I don't know what people think Filipino is, but, like, we're about to tell them. We're also women, so dealing with, like, trying to tell people how it is to be, like, Asian am woman. And, like, using our art to tell that.
I think when something is comedic, like, it's more palpable.
Like,
There's also, like, simple, like, shame elements. Like, we talk about our period, which is, like, typically, like, you feel... I felt shame as, like, young adult. Like, younger, like, oh, like, don't look, like, did I leak, But we do it, we're funny, and we own it, and it's like, let's talk about that. Like, it's not something to be... We take away the shame element.
Yeah. And we just make it, we normalize it, like the period thing.
Yeah.
Like the period
Yeah,
thing.
the
Or
period.
something like
diva
that.
cups, like, come on.
What's
Yeah.
a diva cup?
You'll find out at next Granny Cart show, which
Come
is going to
see
be in
us.
August.
We will show you.
There's going to be a whole musical about diva cups.
I mean,
It sounds super important that you guys are building community and placing our stories into the world. And I just want to thank you all for sharing with us today.
Thanks for having us.
thank you.
Thank you.